Queens of credit, queens of credit, queens of credit, queens of credit. Yeah, they lit, yeah, they lit. They fix it quick, they fix it quick. It really work, it really work. Yeah, it's legit, yeah, it's legit. Queens of credit, queens of credit, queens of credit, queens of credit. Call them up, and get your blessing, get your blessing. Yeah, they lit, yeah, they lit. They fix it quick, they fix it quick. It really work, it really work. Yeah, it's legit, yeah, it's legit. Yeah, yeah, you want that car, you want that house, but your credit really, really in a drought. Queens of credit have you walking in the bank. Queens of credit have you chilling by a lake. You've been waiting for too long, ain't no more time for delay. It's just time to level up, you ain't got no room to play. Always putting others right before yourself. It's your time to shine, time to stack as well. I hear the bag calling, I see the money fall.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? Listen, I'm excited. You know, we always talk about some great stuff in this on Thursday, right? Because it is building your score Thursday. So hopefully you got your pen, whatever you have to take notes with, because we have a lot to cover tonight. And so for those of you that have people that you are connected to, and you know that they've been trying to purchase a house, you know that they have been attempting to get approved for credit cards, business credit, lines of credit, business loans, whatever it is. If you know somebody that's been struggling, make sure that you share this information with them so that way they can become educated, because y'all know they did not teach us about this in school. So tonight, let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right. So the first thing we want to talk about is how do we get an additional 40 to 50 points when it comes to helping your credit? Like, how do we get an additional 40 to 50 points? And so here's the thing. Most people don't realize that there are certain steps that you can actually take before you even decide to start disputing stuff, before you decide to sign up for credit repair or anything like that. So definitely want to welcome you guys tonight. So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you check to see if there's any incorrect personal information. So that means that if you no longer work at that job, if your name has been spelled incorrectly. And so to give you clarification on that, sometimes it'll have your first and last name, but it's in reverse. So like it'll show your last name first and then your first name last. And then sometimes it may have, your middle name. And so if it's not exactly how your name appears on your ID, those are things that you want to call the bureaus and say, hey, I checked my credit and I noticed that this information is not correct. And so the benefit to that is if you actually call the bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, if you actually call the bureaus, and the easiest way to find their number is just to Google it. And if you call them and say, hey, look, I noticed that these names that are showing up on my credit report, they're not accurate. And so you want to make sure you have your credit report in front of you so you know which name is showing up with which bureau. Now, the bonus, y'all, bonus. So the bonus is this, is that as soon as they delete it, your score is going to jump an additional 30 to 50 points just simply by removing wrong information, okay? The next thing is that you want to make sure while you're in there that if you see any accounts that do not belong to you. So remember, 80%. Yes, Raquel, y'all know it's the number one realtor in San Antonio checking in. So the thing is that if 80% of the information that's being reported on your credit, a lot of that stuff is not accurate. So I want you to remember that when you're checking your credit, look for accounts that don't belong to you. The next thing is if there's missing accounts. Now you might be saying, Ashanti, look, if it ain't on there, what's up, Miss Battles? I know you're probably saying, like, if it ain't on there, then why should I bother messing with it? Well, if it's a positive account, you definitely want to make sure that that positive account is on there. And just in case you guys forgot, I know y'all didn't, but just in case you guys forgot, remember, if it is a positive account, it is responsible for 65% of your score, okay? Because remember, 35% is your payment history, 30% is your amount owed, and then the 10% is your new credit. So that's why you want to make sure if there's an account that you have that you are missing, you want to make sure that that's added. The next thing is making sure that there's not an incorrect public record that's reporting, whether that's a foreclosure, whether that's a bankruptcy or anything like that. Okay, so you got to be very, very careful when it comes to stuff like that and understanding. Okay, the next thing is that if it's a duplicate account, welcome y'all, welcome. If it's a duplicate account, okay. So an example of a duplicate account, let's just say that you have some student loan debt, right? And so you notice that it's showing that it's $60,000 worth of student loan debt. Chances are those accounts are duplicated and it may only be 30,000. So you want to look at the account numbers as well as the amounts. And if it's a duplicate account on there, that's something that you want deleted, because that's all the difference from you going from having $60,000 worth of debt, okay, down to $30,000. That's why that is very, very, very important. The next thing is making sure there aren't incorrect inquiries. And so the incorrect inquiries, now this is kind of like a gray area. So I want you guys to just take this, you know, the way that I'm trying to give it to you. If you applied for something, y'all need to see my face on this. If you applied for something, okay, and you did not get approved for it, if you applied for something and you did not get approved for it, get that removed, okay? I know you applied for it, but just get it removed, because that's 15% of damage to your score that does not have to be there. So that's why I'm telling you, like, you want to make sure that you're actively looking at your credit report. So again, if you applied for something but you didn't get approved for it, if you applied for a car and they ran it 90 times, you know, get that stuff removed, because actually it's not tied to an actual account. Okay. The next thing is making sure that, you know, when you're looking at these things and finding out, what does the derogatory mark say, right? Does it say settled in full? Does it say paid in full? Does it say it's in collections? Like, the derogatory remarks matter. If it says that it's been paid late, just call them and say you were having a tough time and to get that removed. Okay. And why again is that, right? When you think about payment history is 35%. So if you get that removed, then your score could go up 100 points. Is that worth it to you? Is it? Like it should be. Okay. Now let's talk about how to choose the right credit card to pay off first. You want to make sure you start off paying off the account with the highest interest rate, okay? Not the one with the lowest balance, because that is the one that is having the least effect on your credit. So the one with the greatest debt, the one with the greatest interest rate, that is the one you want to choose to pay off first, because that is the one that's going to have the most impact when it comes to increasing or decreasing your score. And so when you begin to pay off that high credit card balance and you begin to chip away on that, it begins to increase your credit score, because your debt utilization is now being affected by that. If you guys have any questions, make sure you put that down below. The next thing we need to talk about is when it comes to opening up new credit cards, right? When it comes to opening up a new credit card, typically your score can be around a 600, 620 for you to get an unsecured credit card. And if you have a question of whether or not you're going to get approved or not, the best thing for you to do is to either Google the average score that company looks for, or you can actually call them. And I would say, like, if you have a bank account, start there, because the best thing is that if you have a relationship with your bank, and that doesn't mean that you know everybody in the bank, but your money is there. That means you have a relationship with the bank. They're going to be more likely to approve you for anything that you need. And so what you want to do is you want to go in and meet with the banker and say, hey, you know, I'm looking to get a credit card because I need to boost my credit score. And I want to know, you know, what is the required credit score? And so they'll be able to tell you. I know at BB&T, I think it's like a 610 or a 620. Now, here's another piece of information that most of you may not know. BBVA, their credit score limit is like a 720. for you to get access to up to $2 million, right, in lines of credit. So why is credit important? Because you can use other people's money. Listen, I think that when it comes down to it, we're willing to invest our money in a lot of different things. And we forget that one of the most things that has, I would say, the greatest impact or the most powerful is definitely your credit. Imagine, being able to use your credit score to get a line of credit, use your credit score to be able to obtain capital, use your credit score for emergency funds. And so that's why it's so important not to wait to tackle your credit at the end. Like, most people wait until they're in a bind and then they're like, oh, I need my credit repaired. But it's like, if you work on it while life is going somewhat good, when you really need your credit or when you really need to fall back on it, you'll be able to do that. And so that's why I'm telling you now. And that's why these Thursdays are so important, not just for you, but for anybody that taps in, is that we want to make sure that you're always in a place of where you are strengthening your credit profile. So if you ever need to lean on your credit to take care of a bill, to buy a car, to purchase a home, to get access to business capital, to even get a personal loan with a low interest rate, if you're ever in that place, we want to make sure that you're always prepared. And the best way for you to do that is to be proactive. All right. So, we went over a lot of stuff tonight, guys. Again, tonight's Building Your Score Thursdays. Make sure you check your credit report every single week, because things are updated all the time and you do not want to miss it. Love you guys. See you next Thursday. Remember, keep building your score, because eventually when you need it, you want it to be a strong profile. God bless you guys. Love you. See you next Thursday.
Credit, queens of 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 credit. Yeah, they lit, they fix it quick, It really work, Yeah, it's legit, Queens of credit, queens of credit, queens of credit, queens of credit. Call them up, and get your blessing,